Good evening and welcome to On the Grid. This is our first broadcast, and to my right we've got, or to that side, we've got Jack. And then right underneath we've got the Zerial, and my name is Telthazard. We are super excited because we are all the way from South Africa if you're watching from the US. So our time zone, 7 o'clock, and the rest of you are probably watching it's lunchtime. Awesome. So we're going to just give you some information on, who we are, what we do, and why On the Grid, and what to expect. So if I can, okay, maybe I should take the, or maybe I should give someone the chance to speak. Jack, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, hello there. I'm Jack. I am also from South Africa, as he has said, and we're here with this is our first live. We will be doing this every second Tuesday, so every other Tuesday. And yeah, we are very excited to be here. Well, I'm excited. I can't talk for them, but I am very excited to be here. And yeah, I'm ready for this. How about you, Zerial?
Yes, so yeah, I am the Zerial. So I'm also, like you said, from South Africa. Yeah, I'm very excited. This is the first real talk show, something I'm going to do. So excited to do it every second week and grow not only the community, but the talk show as well. So absolutely. If you want to say something, Telthazard, hit us off.
Yeah. In general, we found that the South African community is very limited to, if we think of the online streaming and gaming community. So we wanted to fill that gap and just, kind of tell the world what we're doing in South Africa. So we're not just on the southern tip of Africa, away from everything. And no, we do not stay in huts. And yes, we do have
water.
We have water
most of the time.
Yeah.
So we might not have electricity, but we have water.
Yes, exactly.
So just, I was thinking of giving each other a chance to kind of explain what we do on streaming. So my name is Telthazard, and I'm a variety streamer. And recently I've been really enjoying Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing is one of the games that I often stream. I'm also a musician, and I'm currently finishing my master's degree in contemporary music, which I hope to finish by the end of this year. Yes. And so I'm just going to show you a little bit of an introduction or trailer to the game that I like to play.
Your attention, please. The Nook Inc. Getaway Package charter flight will soon be arriving at the deserted island.
Yeah, so that is Animal Crossing, and it's on. You get it on mobile, but I played on the Nintendo Switch, and yes, it is. To me, it's an amazing game, and I found that the community, it's so friendly, and the fact that you can invite people to your island, and it's very interactive. So I had quite a few people pop in, specifically when I started streaming Animal Crossing. So that's quite amazing. Jack, would you like to speak about what you enjoy playing, what you like to do? Tell us
everything. Okay, so I have a wide variety of games that I like, but I've said, I keep swinging my chair. I said this from the start. My favorite, no doubt about it, all-time favorite is definitely GTA, and the way it's evolved with with all of them, it's just become something completely else. And a fun thing that we have is where usually you're the bad guy blowing things up and killing people. There's this new twist to it, and it's called 5PD. And in this time, the roles are reversed, and you get to be the police, and you get to police the world. And it's a very big role-playing community. It's a role-play based thing. And I think we have a trailer for it, for 5PD itself. We have a trailer. Let's look at that, and then I'll say something else about it. But let's look.
Vibe.
Yes. So this is the thing. Me and a couple of my friends, we own one of these servers, and it's role play based. So I'd be a cop, and you be criminals and cops. Cops and robbers. It's a really. I see you having an energy. I see you having an energy like there, Telthazar. I have my juice here. So yeah, no, it's very much role play based. So you need to stay in character. We have a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of times you go out of character and it just gets crazy. And at the end of everything, you usually get crazy. But for the most part of it, it's very professional. And yeah, it's just something. It's something I really enjoy. I spend hours and hours working on the servers, just changing things, adding things. It's so customizable. You can customize everything, adding trees, adding fires, scripts, everything. So it's something that you can hear. I really like it. It's something I'm really passionate about. GTA is really a passion of mine. So yeah, that's it for game wise. That's what I do now. I don't stream it a lot because my computer is a potato sometimes. But besides not streaming it, I play it a lot. Yeah. How about you, Thezuriel? What do you do?
Right, so I play mostly WoW in my streaming and non-streaming time because it's a very grindy game. It takes a lot of time to invest into it. But I come from a pretty rich esports background just in general. A few years ago, I was playing in the South African leagues for League of Legends. So I was part of the team there. We finished top 8, top 7 at the Rage. That's the big South African esports thing every year. So stopped playing that, started playing WoW. In general, very competitive person. That's why I liked playing League, because you get to style on other people. And it's kind of the same thing in WoW. Even though it's not always against other people, you still try and be the best, right? So that's the real competitive thing I like bringing out. And so we're going to watch a short trailer for WoW as well. And then, sorry, go ahead, Jack.
I see we have some questions. So Alanderson is asking, how big is the South African esports scene?
So in general, it's gotten a lot bigger lately. It's still not massive, right? The biggest South African esports scene is probably CSGO. CSGO has a pretty healthy scene going with it. But we've had a few standout teams that's even gone overseas to the USA to compete and stuff like that. I think the Overwatch scene is a little small. The Valorant scene is trying to pick up, but it really hurts that there aren't any local servers, because we have to play on 170 ping, which is a bit iffy if you're trying to be competitive. So those are mostly the big ones, with CSGO definitely being the biggest, since there's local servers, which is just if you want to try and be competitive, you need to play on low ping. That's just the reality of esports. So that's about it. We do have big stuff. So Rage every year is a really big event. There's a big expo that goes along with it. So you can Google, you can check it out. I don't think there's been one this year or last year since, it's the pandemic. But you can check past years, go check it out. It's very cool. And then, so generally the way the leagues work is it's called DGL. I don't know if it's still called that, but then you have Premier Division, Top League, like most sports, and then you have first, second, third div. So depending on how big the esport is, the more divisions there are. So I think for CSGO, there's about 120 teams in South Africa right now, something like that anyway. So
how hard is it to get into esports? Because most of you have seen me play, so I'm always scared. I've had people ask, "Hey, we have an esport," but I've seen me play, and most people have seen me play. So I'm terrified of even trying it. But how hard is it to get into?
Right. So I think specifically playing, I don't think it's that bad actually. I think you just need to bite the bullet and try and talk to people, right? So most of the esports in South Africa. No, I know that sounds bad, but let me explain, right? So most of the esports in South Africa have there's a Facebook page or a Discord thingy where you can join, and then there's oftentimes, I see often, especially for the League of Legends one, there's oftentimes people just hey, I want to start a team. Does anyone want to join? And the thing with the leagues there's an open division for all the people starting, right? So there's no prerequisites, there's no rank requirement, there's no you need to be this good. You sign up 5 people and you just go jam. You go play against other people and you just go. So I think in general it looks a lot more daunting than it actually is. I think once you take the first few steps, things start to progress a little more naturally. Then obviously, just like anything, the more time you put in, obviously the better it is, or the easier it's going to get. So I think that's about it.
I feel like if I could grab a good team, then they could just carry me and I could just go to the top just being carried all the way.
I've seen that definitely happen at Twitch Rivals a few times. If you've watched that, they've had a few games where like there's a few dodgy people playing, but they have 4 very good teammates, so like they can make it work. So
Yeah. Well, there we go. Let's watch that video.
yeah,
If
let's
no one
watch
else
the
has a
video.
question.
Yeah,
All right, here we go.
absolutely.
Beyond the veil lies the Shadowlands, where every soul has its place.
Beyond the veil lies darkness, where every soul has its place.
Every time I see a Blizzard cinematic, I'm just blown away every time. Like the quality of the cinematics are just like it's so
Yeah.
good. If you ever just want to like have a good time, just go watch Blizzard cinematics. Like honestly, it doesn't even matter what game it is. Like just go watch Blizzard cinematics. They're so good. It's insane. But yeah, that's mostly it from my side. I'm gonna throw it
Yeah.
back over to Talpazard. If
I
you have
think-
any questions or anything.
I think WoW is also one of the games that the three of us have in common. I don't know, when did you guys start to play Warcraft? I know
Nope.
initially the first one that came out, and then Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, huge fan. That's actually where my gaming tag comes from. There's in Warcraft 3, there was a orc character called Cal Thuzard, and I wasn't a huge orc and a horde fan, so I changed it and gave it a bit of an elven twist and called it Telthazard. So, and it's stuck. It's more than 10 years. So, so that's
I
quite
don't,
cool.
I don't like the horde people. There's horde.
Yeah, I agree. Alliance. Like,
Yeah,
why would you want to be a big ugly orc or a cow?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to be a cow? Like, I don't get
These
it.
horde
Man.
people. These horde
Just be
people. in
like-
chat.
Be
Cat
like a
brat.
cool human or like a cool elf or like, why wouldn't you want to be a gnome? Like, be a genius. Now you want to be a
Yeah.
cow or
Yeah,
an orc with
exactly.
a hunchback. Like, what's up, man? Like, I don't get it. But yeah, Warcraft was out before I was born. So like,
Oops. Okay, now I'm giving away
I
my
mean,
age.
I've always wanted to go back and play them. It's just I've never actually just like did it. So it's maybe on the radar. Maybe we'll do it sometime on stream and we'll play through all the first Warcraft games and see where it all comes from.
I don't like top-down view games. I really don't like it. I've tried, but it's just ugh.
At
It's
least
not my
Warcraft's
thing.
story is good. So like you just zoom through and then you just then you're there.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think also just to give a bit of context, the fact if you're thinking why the three of us, why we are presenting this whole thing, this talk show together. So we're all part of a company called The Geek Grid. If you see our logo, and now I've got it right, so it's way to the other side. And obviously on the grid is this program that we're presenting, and we're also part of what we call Steam Dragons. It's also like a subdivision of our gaming side of it. But the biggest thing is that I think from the start of the pandemic that a lot of people have moved over to streaming platforms, being at home and not being able to go out. And I think it's the whole thing, gaming for mental wellness and, dealing with major issues. I think just in from a personal context, I also teach, and kids from a young age, then they get the worst ideas of, hurting themselves and things, and inviting people to come to a healthy environment or a healthy community. So the three of us, all the way from South Africa, we're trying to start something in South Africa to show that playing TV games or playing games is not a bad thing. That you're actually engaging with people across the ocean, and you learn so much about different cultures and things. So one of the things also, we're not just the online gaming platform or a company. We also do festivals. Two of the biggest festivals that we are doing are happening in the US. And I would like to show you a little advert of one of it's the Alpha GeekCon 2021. And this is our little advert. Stick around and check it out.
Alpha GeekCon is an event dedicated to family-friendly fun and education for activities such as video games, cosplay, board games, cartoons, and anything else geeky that you can think of.
Well, howdy! I'm here to tell you about Alpha GeekCon. It will be in May, and it'll have lots of food, vendors, edutainment purposes, lots of fun things. I will be there in cosplay myself, probably as some kind of robot, but you will see me.
Over at the Bloomsburg Children's Museum on May 1st and 2nd. The hours on Saturday will be 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sunday the hours will be 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Hope to see you there. Spider-Man, flipping out.
Let me back. Have you guys ever cosplayed before?
Well, I mean, I've dressed.
Yeah, I've dressed up for stuff, right? Yeah, but sorry, you go, Jack.
Like I have no, but that's the thing. It's the same. We both I've dressed up, but I haven't I wouldn't call it cosplay because mostly my outfits look like I made them myself out of newspaper and duct tape, which is usually what they were. It's usually outfits made out of newspaper and duct tape. But and see, there's a difference between the YouTube tutorials of people, newspaper and duct tape, and my newspaper and duct tape. Little bit of a difference. But yeah, so I have a sailor outfit. I think it's my best outfit. I have a full-on sailor outfit. But that's all. So I think, right, when we go to the thing in the US, we wear something like that. I'll wear my sailor outfit. I'll get on the plane from here. I'll fly all the way there in my sailor outfit. And then I'll pitch up there in that. I think that's an idea.
I mean, I think the thing is, right, everyone, at some point, when you go to school, when I went to school a few years ago, we had, events where, certain days you just, when I was in primary school, we had, every year there was, you have to dress up, the same thing with your name starts with. So, if my real name starts with an N, I had to dress up something that starts with an N. So I just think stuff like that's not really cosplay, right? But it's the same idea. You dress up, you become something else for the day, you become someone else for the day. It's not as cool as these people that spend hours and hours and months on months making the absolute coolest outfits that you can possibly imagine. But the spirit is there, right? So I mean, it's close enough.
Yeah, I think the closest to cosplay, Jack, when you did the Halloween stream, that was quite cool. I think you had all the bats and things going. I mean, in general, if you look at South Africans, we don't celebrate Halloween really. No. We used to do what they call they say remember the 5th of November. So Guy Fawkes is one of our but traditions, if you can call it that. But because of fireworks, they put an end to it, and we kind of jumped over to the American tradition, and we are currently, few and far between. We do a bit of Halloween.
We have a lot of people in the chat that seem really into cosplay. So I have a question then. What to you two as well? What is the difference? When would you call it dressing up, and when would you call it cosplay? How do you differentiate? okay, this is dressing up, this is just dressing up, and this is just cosplay. Because I doubt that me wearing a suit and doing like using all of my sister's makeup, breaking most of it to try and make my face look like a zombie, I doubt that counts as cosplay. So I mean, I need some clarification. What is cosplay, and then what is just dressing up?
Yeah, I think with regards to dressing up is if you say you choose a specific character and you literally use whatever you have in your home, adding a white shirt or using a blanket or something, and now you're a ghost. Where cosplay, I think, is where you really go and dig and you go and buy stuff and you make stuff and to try and get you as close to that specific character, like we saw Spider-Man on the advert. I mean, that is cosplay. I mean, I would run. I would think of this Spider-Man's going to chase me, or I think there's quite a few. Some of the I think of the previous festival that we did also with the Geek Grid was the Steam Fest, where they had characters like Loki. They had a Batman, but it was a steampunk version of Batman. So I think it doesn't necessarily have to be an existing character. I think as soon as if it takes you longer than a week to make the costume, or you have it professionally done.
Okay, I'm not a cosplayer apparently.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, right? As soon as you start spending money and like you have to put in effort to actually like make the stuff you're wearing, right? Because if you're just dressing up like a cowboy, you're not making the cowboy hat, probably. I don't know, maybe you guys are. But you don't make the cowboy hat. You just get a cowboy hat and you put it on.
Newspaper and duct tape.
I think cosplay is more in the vein of you actually make the stuff you're wearing, at least pretty often, because you can't just go out and buy a 501st Legion outfit from Star Wars. You have to make that. You have to like put the stuff together, put it together, and then go from there. So I think that's the big distinction. Instead of just like getting stuff you already have, you actually make stuff when you're cosplaying. That's what I think. So
for next stream, I'm going to wear a cowboy hat that I made out of duct tape and newspaper, and then I will be a cosplayer.
Absolutely, in my books at least. So
if you make your own costume, you're a cosplayer.
That seems good to me.
Well, Anderson, you're a lazy Swede.
Yeah, he's been working on it his whole life, apparently.
That's dedication.
For the past 48 years, he's been working on that.
Wow.
You look 24. I think he's like 50. I think he's like 50.
50. So I mentioned earlier, the Geek Grid and I mentioned Steam Dragons. So one of our, like I said, the gaming platform or the gaming aspect of the company, and we actually have in our presence our Steam Dragon of the month, the Zuriel. So I want to chip in quickly and just play a little clip of one of his. Let me just to share the screen and do this at the same time, of one of his streams, and then I'm going to hand over to the Zuriel.
Bounce it around.
Just don't kill us. Shit, it's opposite.
Okay, brother. Yeah. It's fine, just kill the boss. Just bounce it.
Nice, guys.
Come on.
Game up!
Awesome.
All right, so I really like that clip because everyone was so excited when we actually killed the boss, right? I think that was just, that really makes me happy whenever that comes around. So, I thought what I would do today, since I have the floor, what we're going to do is we're going to look at one of the recent streams I did where we killed the last boss in the raid for the first time. So what I thought we would do is we're gonna check it out. I'm gonna show you the video, and then I'm just gonna talk a bit. So if you're in chat, like you see something happening, I'm gonna explain what's happening. But if you have any questions, like throw them at me. I'm gonna do my best to answer all of them. Maybe Talthazar or Jack also jumps in and asks me some questions. So
oh yes, I'm a noob.
Absolutely. So we'll go from there. So let me see. Let me get this screen share going, and then yeah, we will go from there. So this one, and then this one. I think we should be good. Can you see that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get going. First thing I'll say is we are fighting the boss. You actually saw in the trailer we played earlier. It's the big bulky dude that threw someone off the edge. So we are actually killing bad people at least. So that is the one positive. So this is a very cool boss fight. Just because you start in one room and you end up in a different room, and then there's a bunch of mirrors and you run through mirrors and you teleport all over the place. So it's very cool thematically, at least I think so. So yeah, there's the boss in the middle. You can see me, I'm playing a demon hunter at the moment. So basically what's happening in this first part of the fight is we're hitting the boss. He throws us up into the air every once in a while, does a little bit of damage. The aim of this phase is to, you have to get him down to 70% health before he fills the room. You're going to see in a little while, he's going to cast, when we raid, we just call it, he does a big pizza slice, right? So he just fills the room up with a pizza slice. You see there, it says Ravage soon. You get out of the pizza slice. So this is kind of like you're just on a timer, so you can't just suck and like noodle the boss down. So you're on a little bit of a timer. The pizza slices fill up the room, and then if you're too slow, you just die to the pizza slice, which is very unfortunate, even though I think a lot of people would like death by pizza. So this first phase pretty much just repeats a little while. He throws us up into the air. You can see the one other thing happening is every now and then people get some lines on them. So the way that works is the more people that stand in the line, the less damage the person takes that the line is actually on. So you'll see us walking into the line there. Help your friends, because we don't want our friends to die. And then, yeah, whenever that happens, we just fill up and then we go again. So you can see we're almost going to be out of phase one. Here's the second pizza slice. So if we don't suck, which spoilers, since I'm from the future, we don't, and we beat the third pizza slice, we're just waiting here. He's going to do his last cast, and now we are going to push him. So he's going to knock us all to the edge of the room. Very cool, very dramatic. And we walk to the middle. So if you don't walk to the middle in time, you also die, because he's a badass like that. So you can see there's a little cast bar, you walk to the middle, and now we're going to a different room, which is absolutely sick. Like, it's very cool. Most boss fights are just like in one room, you sit there and wail the boss, but this is like, you do a bit of traveling. So in this part of the fight, you can see he's a very weeby. He has a floating sword that fights with him. So his sword is animated, which is actually pretty cool. So yeah, you can see he's on the right there, and then there's just some of his lieutenants, his friends are here irritating us as well. Whenever we kill one of the side ads, his lieutenants, they drop some swirlies on the floor, as you can see there. You need to move out of, or you're going to get yeeted off the edge, which is instant death, of course, because you can see that is a bottomless pit of despair. So here you can see we're walking through the mirror the first time. The way the mirrors work is the room is basically a big cross. So if you walk through the mirror, it just takes you to the opposite side, which is pretty cool because it allows you to live one of his mechanics where he sucks the entire raid in. And then the further away you are from him, the less damage everyone takes. So you get sucked in, and then you just run through the mirror. This is the other very cool ability he does during the entire fight from phase 2. His sword decides to just go Super Saiyan. So the sword just goes up, starts slicing through everyone, targets random people, leaves massive red lines on the floor, and it just keeps going. So you need to dodge that. That's instant death as well, as you would expect if a massive sword slices through you. So he's going to do it again in a little while. I think in about 10 seconds, then you'll see that happen again. So that should be coming up right about now, after these swirls, there you can see the sword goes, and here it comes. So there, the sword is trying to kill everyone. It's very thematic. It's very cool. I honestly think it's one of the coolest looking boss fights there's been in WoW. And yeah, there we go through the mirror again. And here we go into the final phase. So we have a bit of a shift in places again. Now we fight him in the middle of the room. He actually wields his big anime sword now instead of it floating around and fighting. So this phase is all about every few seconds he knocks you back, which is again pretty bad if you get knocked off the edge because you fall to your death. So he still does the sucking ability where he sucks you in. The further away you are, the less damage you take. Bit harder to deal with now since you can't use the mirrors anymore. And then the other big ability in this phase is you'll see throughout the phase, he puts some circles on people, and then you need to take those circles away from all your friends. And then once it goes off, it leaves behind a little swirly, I would say, that you need to soak. And the more you soak it, the smaller the ball at the top becomes. And you need to soak that entire swirly before the ball reaches the floor, or else it'll blow up. And then he also has the return of the pizza slice, which is what we all like to see. So this last phase is a bit of a race again. You only have a certain amount of time to actually kill the boss. It's just so you can't suck again, which, spoiler, we didn't because we actually killed the boss, like I said. So here you can see the balls. So they get smaller the more people soak them. If those balls ever reach the floor, you just blow up and die. So this entire last phase is basically just a repeating cycle, right? It's very scripted. So you just learn the phase the more you do it. It's like a dance, right? So every time it's roughly the same. You improvise a wee bit, but mostly it's the same. And you just survive. If you just basically love this phase, you basically kill the boss. You can see knockback's going to happen again. We're going to get sucked in soon. There, everyone gets sucked in. We run. And during this is the scariest part of the fight. Your feet's down while it's going off, and then you immediately need to soak over here. So you can see we use it for a few cooldowns, and then he should be doing another pizza slice soon. It's pretty cool. You use his mechanics against him in true anime fashion. You use the knockback to get out of the pizza slice right there. Just a bit of uptime on the boss. You can see the first person dies here, which is very unfortunate, but that's what happens at the end of the fights. People just start falling over. So he does the suck again. We soak some balls. And then I think we're going to get one more knockback and then some circles again and maybe massacre, and then the boss is going to die. So you can see more and more people are starting to die. There's about 4 dead right now. But luckily the boss is on 2% HP. So we're going to persevere. I think we soak these orbs. Once these orbs are soaked, we're going to get the lines on the floor where the sword goes anime again. And now we just killed the boss. And that is actually about it. It's a very cool fight. I hope you more or less followed along with what was going on. But yeah, that is about it. So I think it's a very cool fight, just thematically, the way, like I said, the rooms change, the place where you fight the boss changes. Like most fights are just like in a small rectangular room, and you just, there's the boss, there's you, and you fight. Like 1, 2, 3, there you go. But this one changes a bit, and it keeps it fresh, if you ask me. So
you seem so excited at the end. Like you could see you celebrate. Like
so, just for some context, right? The amount of time we spent on this boss, I checked like last night, since we've killed it twice since that evening, right? So overall, we have had 144 pulls on the boss, which meant we've actually tried to kill him 144 times. And the fight varies between like 6 to 9 minutes. So I checked, that's about 11 hours we've spent on that boss alone. So you can imagine the first time we actually killed him. We were extremely happy. That's like so much time investment. You finally get it down, and you can move on and get some sick loot. So yeah.
Now I have no idea what was going on there. The dungeons and things that I did was like entry level 80 dungeon was like the most, like the nexus of the old World of Warcraft was like the highest dungeon I ever did. And I did it with a guy who was just running in and practically tanking the whole dungeon because he wanted to run through it and just had to have people with him. So besides the fact that I have no clue what was going on there, I watched a friend of mine, May, she plays Final Fantasy, and I asked her the other night, they were doing a boss as well, so I'm going to ask you the same question I asked her. On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is that boss supposed to be? So as soon as you get to the right level to be able to take him, and you have the right gear, on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is that supposed to be?
All right, so I think this is kind of a tricky question to answer, right? Because if you assume
that's what she said.
if you assume everyone plays perfectly, right, and we're all like the best that we could be, I would say honestly the boss should be like 6 out of 10. Like still a pretty decent challenge. Like there's personal responsibility. And since it's a long fight, like if you make mistakes at the end, you have to do the entire thing again, right? So I think in general it's like a 6 out of 10. You have to keep in mind as well, this wasn't the highest difficulty there is. So for people that aren't familiar with WoW, the way dungeons and raids work these days is there's 3 difficulties. So there's normal, there's heroic, and there's mythic. So normal is like the easiest one. That's like very entry level. There's often a few mechanics missing from the higher tiers. That's like the entry level. You're just trying to learn. You're chilling. You don't really have a competitive drive. That's the one for you. Then the step above that is often heroic, which is where most of the mechanics are in at this point. It's fairly punishing. There's often mechanics that like just straight up one-shot you. Like if you do something wrong, you're just dead, right? So, but often like there's still you can still outplay, you can still carry a few people that don't fully know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like I would say it's the real middle of the ground difficulty. And then the one above that is Mythic, which we've started after we killed the last boss on Heroic. So now we need to kill everything on Mythic, which is the highest difficulty. So Mythic oftentimes is very punishing. Oftentimes there's mechanics a little different from Heroic to make them even harder. A lot of things are just straight up one-shots. You need to have 20, which is a decently big number already. 20 competent people that all know what they're doing. So I would say that exact same fight, but only on Mythic, would probably go up to like 8 out of 10. Just because it's even longer on Mythic, there's even more stuff you need to do. So yeah. I think in general, this tier has been pretty good. So when I say tier, just this raid is what I mean.
Yeah.
It's been generally pretty good with the difficulty ramping up the further you go into the raid. So bad boss design would be if one of the hardest bosses is just the 3rd. And then after that, you have 3 easy ones again, right? I think that's horrible. You want it really just ramping up slowly as you go on. With more personal responsibility and difficulty and so on. So I would say generally it's been pretty good this year. So I'd say it crescendoed nicely towards the end there, if that makes sense.
So one last question to this from me. The community, how is it? Because the last time I played on a private server and it was a horrible community, the Horde were a bunch of horrible people, and it was really bad. And I think it was also because it was a private server, but it was really bad. And even the people who played the dungeons, even like part of the Alliance, if you were to queue for a dungeon and you'd be with random people, it would be horrible people. They'd have no like any sympathy for someone who just started. They'd just be like, well, why aren't you doing this? Let's kick him. And I'm like, but it's the first time I've ever done this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's the catch-22 of we want 10 years of experience for this job. But
exactly.
So you get the 10 years of experience, right? Yeah, so I think in general, whenever you play WoW, the community it's kind of up and down. So depending on where you are. But in general, the biggest advice I have for someone, like if you want to start playing WoW right now, you don't have like a big friend group doing it already. Honestly, the most important thing to do is to find a guild. So for people that aren't like known in WoW, a guild is basically like a family you join. So it has a name, you join there, and then you do everything with your guild. So you find a group of people you really resonate with, you really like, that have similar mindsets, similar goals in mind, even if it's just like, we exist to do normal dungeons, man. Like, that's what we want to do. And you find something like that, because oftentimes the community is a bit whack, to put it lightly. Like, there's always going to be some people that just have, I think the thing that people forget is when you play these types of games, and it's not just WoW, right? It's like League of Legends and everything.
Yeah.
Like, you often forget, like, the person you're berating and shouting at in game is an actual person, right? Like, people forget that they aren't just playing with robots. That's actual people. And I think there's always going to be people that don't fully grasp that at times. And I think if you want to fully experience and enjoy the game, the best thing you can do is just find a guild, because that eliminates all these problems, right? Because immediately you're in a group of people that share the same mindset as you and want to accomplish the same things as you. So
how do you find a guild?
So
just because what I did is I run into the marketplace and I just yell, "Hey guys, I want the guild!" And more than often, the one time I got the guild, a guy that came to me was like, "Join our guild, we'll give you 1 gold every day." And they gave me 1 gold. I joined the guild. I got a gold every day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a little iffy on private servers, obviously, but on retail, well, there's a few ways you can actually find guilds. They have official forums where guilds often advertise, and they just say, like, you can go to the forums and say, I play Alliance, I'm on this server, this is what I'm looking for. And then it'll show all those guilds. You can check there. Same thing. So there's a few other external websites as well, where if you're raiding, for example, there's a website called WoW Progress. And then all the guilds that raid at all will show up there, and they'll show their progress, right? And then if you click on that guild, the guild will have a nice little info page there, just describing what they stand for, like how to contact them, stuff like that. So, and then obviously you can. Recently they added in an in-game guild finder as well, which is obviously a little worse because you can't go as in depth with it. But in general, I would say it's worth putting in the effort to find something you actually want instead of just jumping around and going for the first skill that gives you 1 gold every day. So
we're running out of time. Last question. I need to rush this. You need to rush this too. Quickly, difference between retail and classic. I have no clue. I want to start playing. What is the difference between retail and classic?
Right, retail is just, it has all the content that's ever been released. That's all. So retail, everything that's ever been released. Most of the time, the challenging content is the newest things. Okay.
So what do you play?
That's retail. Newest things. That's what we do. Classic, on the other hand, that's the things that first came out back in 2003. So it has none of the new things. It's all the old stuff. It's very like nostalgic. If you haven't experienced it before, it's great. It's very slower. And now, if the leaks are true at BlizzCon, they might announce TBC servers as well, which is the next expansion, which would follow up on Classic. Basically, retail, all new stuff. Classic, all the old stuff. That's the TLDR.
Okay, cool. There we go.
Cool. I'm also thinking the Zero. It's a good thing that you're mentioning about guilds and all those things. I think in general, if you're looking at streamers, often I think where I started getting involved with a community was with a Discord, because we basically use that as our means of communication when we're either off stream or on stream. And I've just added a very friendly community. It's the Geek Grid Discord. So if you want to pop in there, you're welcome to. You'll find, if you are a WoW player, you'll find people like Cat Brat, who also plays, and you'll find the Zerial. You'll find us all there. And, just in general, quite a few games that we do play. But like I said earlier, we're not just about gaming. And this is where I want to bring in Jack. And he has an exciting part, something that's happening in his life. And Jack, would you like to explain or just give us some more information about that?
Yeah. Breaking my desk. Yes, I'm super excited about this. So I decided one talk show is not enough for me. I want to also have my own talk show. And because of that, I have decided to start my own talk show. And I have a little intro clip. I think we have it loaded up. And it has a black part at the end, which we can stop at. But this is a little intro clip, and then I'll tell you more about it when it starts. But here it is. I'm so excited. There we go. I am so excited about that. It took forever to get that done. It took forever to get this idea in motion. I started with this like 5 months ago. I had the idea. I want to do a talk show, and it has all built up to this point. The first one will be next Thursday at 9 my time. It's brilliant. It's going to be a fun thing. I've wanted to do something fun, something where you can have people on, interview them, have some fun, play a few games. Just have it should be a fun show, and it gives us a chance to just showcase all the people in the communities. It gives us to showcase people with talents, people doing things, people making a difference, and also then have fun, because that's the type of person I am, having fun. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a great show. I'm so happy. We'll be doing 3 guests. Yes, I was excited for it from the start. We'll be doing 3 guests per show. Last guest would always be a performance guest. Now, our first performance guest, I'm so excited for it. We're going to have a violin piece played live to us. So I'm really happy about this. It's just something I thought I'd share. I'm super excited. Yeah. And obviously, because there's 3 guests per show, there's so many people we can have. Every Thursday, we can have 3 new people. Just really cool. Yeah,
it's amazing.
That's it.
Awesome. I think there's so many things happening, that we want to squeeze everything in the first episode. Also, just have, if you have a chance to go and check out the website, The Geek Grid. So it's www.thegeekgrid.com. You'll also find all the talk shows coming up. We have various things happening. We have ranging it's gaming for mental wellness. We have tutorials. We have workshops. Yes. And I have a workshop coming up soon. You just make sure that you pop into the Geek Grid, and even on our Facebook pages. And as you can see, we're streaming on multiple platforms. And you will see I'm doing a workshop that incorporates music to streaming. So I will chat about things, what you should do, what music you should play, what you shouldn't play. How do you do, if you're a music performer, how do you do covers online without having that evil word, the DCMA strikes, how to bypass that, or how to do it legally. We have the options.
Oh, we have options.
GTA options.
Oh, it's such a struggle when you play GTA and that radio comes on, because you get instantly striked for that because it's normal songs.
Yes. Because the thing is, there are so many, I'm not going to divulge the whole thing, but there's so many things that you can do. I mean, the music that we're playing in the background is royalty free, but it doesn't sound like elevator music. So it's high quality music, and you can still have music that is open to, it's like public property, and that the people allow you to play this and without being charged royalties. So I'll definitely go deep into that, and also speak about equipment. What suits the best equipment for your needs. Should I use an XLR mic? Should I use a USB mic? I know Nikki was also recently speaking about microphones and what should you buy type of thing. So it would be ideal for you to pop in, Nick. So
there we go.
First ticket sold. I'm joking.
Yes.
So definitely, and the thing is, because we expanding this brand on the grid, so we would like you as a viewer also to get involved and ask questions. We want this to be interactive, and not just a viewer and a presenter type of thing. We want you to get involved. We'll put your questions on the screen and try to answer as much as we can. So that is really cool. Yes. So the next session we will be here on the 23rd, so you can document that. It'll be 7 p.m. GMT +2 time. It'll be 12 12 o'clock EST time. I'm still getting used to the.
Sounds right to me. Sounds right
I'm
to
always late for all meetings, so it's fine. Don't ask me.
You know, Jack, it's actually very seldom that South Africa is ahead, and we're 7 hours ahead.
me.
We're just behind in everything.
Except time. We're ahead on time. So it's a dub. We take those.
It's crazy the misconception that a lot of people have. Like, we have Wi-Fi. Like, if I'm coming to America in August, I'm not going to monkey grip at the bottom of the plane. I'm gonna book a ticket. I'm gonna go to an airport. I'm gonna book a ticket, and I'm gonna get on a plane like a normal person.
We have
Fly
cards.
there.
We use PayPal as well.
Yeah, not on Xbox apparently because it doesn't want to let me. But anything else, yeah.
Yeah. You know, there was actually something. Maybe it's for the both of you. I was just thinking with regards to Discord channels and guilds and all these type of things. I've been gaming for quite some time. I was very big on console gaming. I mean, the first TV games. I mean, you wouldn't know what Atari is, but that was one of the.
Yeah, it's a bit before my time.
Yeah, it's like 4 colors type of thing. You had like a little joystick with a red button that you press. Okay, so gaming is, it comes it's been a while. Now, for someone who's been gaming for a long time, and you don't have that interaction with other people, now all of a sudden you jump into something, often you find in South Africa that the whole people go and buy games and say, do I really need internet for this? They kind of, it's a scary thing. But there are certain rules, but it's not necessarily in the tutorial. And I'm thinking that something happened with me when I was playing Sea of Thieves. And you kind of think that you just jump into the game and you kind of take it as it goes. And I know with League of Legends, you also have specific rules that you need to follow, but it isn't spelled out in the game. How do you approach that in the sense of, I'm thinking League of Legends because you were in an esport team as well. What is a bottom laner, what is an AC carry or AD carry, what is a mid laner, jungler, top, if I just jumped in, say for instance, and I played Sona and I was a mid laner, I would be kicked off and people will be rude because it's like, what are you doing? And the same thing with
one match.
It was a friendly argument, but eventually we literally went off the game and we had a conversation, and where this person actually explained to me, but no, you can't just play the game. You have to, if you're 2 players or 3 players or 4 players, you have duties that you have to, at the end of the day, achieve. How do you do that? So the question is, how do you get into that, or how do you learn this lingo without being torn apart when you play the game?
I mean, honestly, this is kind of the same advice I had for hours, right? Just find people to play with, right? Like, there's the world we live in today is insane. Like, there's so many ways you can ask people from all over the world, just like, hey, like, someone, please come play with me. Like, there's always going to be people that love playing with new people, that love teaching people how to do things. And I think that's honestly the biggest advice for these types of games. Like, even if it's just find 1 or 2 people you really want to play with and ask them, hey man, like, just throw me some tips, like, help me, take my hand, show me the ropes, which is funny because it's Sea of Thieves, and just show me how we do this, right? And we take it 1 step at a time. And if people are going to be rude, you tell them, okay, cool, and you move on. And that's about it. Especially with these online games, you need to have a bit of a thick skin, right? But honestly, just you need to be a part of a community. Like, you'll find someone to play with. Do that, especially for the start. Once you have your feet, go for it. Jump in alone. Do what you want to do. You be you. Be yourself. And then
I was bashing the WoW community for being toxic earlier, but I also remember a lot of times playing where it would literally, someone would come up to me like, oh, you're new. And I'm like, yeah, can you just help me like kill this person? I just need to kill them because this is good. And then they'll be like, yeah, anytime. And they'll be like, oh, here's 300 gold. I'm like, I'm rich. I remember a specific time. We were on a beach and there was this boss and it was level 17 and we were like level 10 and we were here to kill it, but we were 4. So it was like 4 is that's 40. He's level 17. We're level 40. So it's fine. We can do it. we were wrong.
Checks out.
So we used the /yell, and we just yelled. I just yelled like, "Can anyone help us?" A level 80 swooped down. He one-shot it, and he left. And I was like, oh, that was the coolest thing I've ever experienced. But yeah. So, I mean, in the times of need, I feel there are also good people part, and you just need to find those good people.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
I think with Animal Crossing, I've actually found that the community is actually very sweet. And one of the people also in the stream, Buttons, they've been donating. I think that you get bells, that's your currency. And, you know, jumping into ours, it's only once that I had someone steal my plants. But yeah, I think that's actually quite cool. Like you say, you find your niche. And, you know, as soon as you start to learn the game, I think it's also good just to jump into people's streams and see how they play. And just to, you kind of see what people are about and how, you know, what the lingo is. But can you believe an hour is gone? We are at the end of the program, our first On the Grid show. How are you feeling?
This was great.
Absolute blast.
But are you sure it was an hour? I feel like it's only been like 30 minutes. We can go another 30.
I think we should get a claim. What do you call it? The points claim that says another one.
Yeah,
we should get one more. Ollie has the one more. We should get that. We can get that in. We can do one more every time.
Yeah. But thank you so much for popping into the stream also and supporting us. Myself, Talthazard.
It's Jack.
And
Zuriel.
And we are signing off. See you on the 23rd of
Bye.
February. Bye.
Bye-bye.